Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Hope you all are fine, my dear friends. We have completed 3 lessons of book 1. Today we are going to start lesson 4. Today we will study the grammatical concepts of lesson 4. There are about 6 topics in lesson 4. First one is harful jar, which is called as preposition in English. Next is ad-damirul munfasilu, means the detached pronoun. Third topic is mamnu'un min as-sarf. It is the grammatical term used for the noun which does not take tanween or which is prevented from taking tanween. At-ta'nith, this is our fourth topic. At-ta'nithu, the femininity. Fifth one is al-fi'lu, means the verb. And last is ad-damirul mustatiru, means the hidden pronoun. Mustatirun means concealed or hidden. So let's proceed towards the details of each topic. Our first topic is harful jar, which is called as particle of jar or preposition. In Arabic language, there are near about 17 or more prepositions, but frequently 8 are used, and we are going to study near about 8 harful jar or harful. We are going to study near about 8 huruful jar in our whole syllabus. So today we are going to study only 4. Those 4 are fi, ala, ila, min. Now as the word harf suggests us that it does not have its own meaning. It gives us the meaning when it comes in front of the noun in the sentence. Then only its meaning is apparent clearly. Prepositions here are fi, ala, ila, and min. Fi means in, ala means on or upon, ila means to or towards, min means from. Now, whenever these prepositions or harful jar or huruful jar, if we talk in plural, in terms of plural, then these prepositions don't give us any meaning when they are pronounced as or said individually. Now we are going to study the characteristics of these huruful jar. First characteristic is that these huruful jar or harful jar, it enters upon only the noun. It does not enter upon any verb. It enters upon only noun. It enters upon ism. Normally, ism or ismun or nouns are in marfu state. Marfu state means nominative case. The marfu state is called as nominative case in English. Marfu state is that state in which ism has tanween with dhamma or single dhamma. Whenever any preposition or harful jar appears in front of ism, then that ism gets converted to genitive case. Genitive case is called as majroor state in Arabic language. What does this mean? It means that the noun or ism has taken either kasratani or tanween bil kasra, okay, or if there is al or if it is mudaf, then it will take single kasra. Harful jar can have many endings. As we said, as we know from the earlier words, earlier explanation, that it does not give any meaning unless it enters into a sentence in front of a noun. Its exact meaning is known only from the context of the sentence. Now we will learn about harful jar by taking an example. What does harful jar has an effect on any noun? For example, here there is a word al-baytu. It is marfuq by default. In its original state, it is marfuq. It is marfuq means it is in nominative case. But when harful jar enters in front of it, for example, here fi has entered in front of it, then it gets converted into genitive case, means majroor state. It will take kasra at the end. It will deny taking dhamma or tanween with dhamma. Now it will have to take kasra when harful jar enters in front of it. Here in the example, when fi has entered in front of al-bayt, then it has become al-bayti from al-baytu, and its state is called as majroor state. This state is called majroor state. So let's proceed further. Next is ismun istifhamun lil makan. Noun of questioning for place. Aina. Aina is a question word. It means where. It is used to ask about the whereabouts of someone or something. Whenever we want to ask that where is that person, where is that thing, or where is a particular thing or person, then at that point of time, aina is used in Arabic. Here we have an example for inanimate thing or which does not have any intellect. First example is Ainal Qalam or Ainal Qalamu. Where is the pen? Answer is it is on the table. Huwa alal maktabi. Now where in the next example where has been used for the human or which has intellect. Aina Khadijatu. Where is Khadija? Answer is Hiya fil matbakhi. She is in the kitchen. So if we summarize, then we can say that Aina is used for both, for those who don't have any intellect and for those who have intellect. It is used to ask about the place where is the person or thing. Let's proceed further. الضمير المنفصل, the detached pronoun. الضمير means pronoun and al-munfasil or al-munfasilu means detached. In Arabic, noun comes first and adjective or the quality which is qualifying the noun comes after the noun. It is opposite to that of English. In English, the adjective comes before the noun. For example, the careful man. Here, the careful is the adjective and man is the noun. Adjective has come first and the noun has come after that. But in Arabic, noun comes first and the quality or the adjective which qualifies it comes after it. We are going to study that in detail in our next coming lessons, inshallah. Near about 14 pronouns are used in different cases. In this lesson, we are going to study only 5. الضمير المنفصل. These nouns, detached, these detached pronouns comes under the category of nouns. As we have discussed earlier, there are only 3 parts of speech in Arabic language. Pronouns come under the category of nouns in Arabic language. So we can say al-dhamirul munfasilu is a type of ism. And as I said earlier that it is used for 3 cases. Means to indicate upon the ghaibun, absent, which is third person, or the mukhatabun, means the person who is standing in front of you or the person who is addressed, second person, or the mutakallamun. Mutakallimun is the speaker, first person. Now English language pronouns are used in place of nouns in order to eliminate the frequent use of noun. For example, we say in English, Muhammad is sitting in the house. Muhammad is studying geography. Muhammad goes to school daily. Now see, it is so monotonous to hear the name all the time, and our speech or writing becomes lengthy by using the name of the person frequently in the each sentence. In order to eliminate that, English language has the concept of pronouns. When we make the use of pronouns, then those three sentences will become: Muhammad is sitting in the house, he is studying geography, he goes to school daily. Now see, instead of Muhammad, we used he. So pronouns eliminate the use of nouns frequently. Same is the case with pronouns or dhamir in Arabic language. Now, for the third person, there are six pronouns or six dhamirun munfasilun. For the second person, there are six dhamirun munfasilun, and first person, for the first person, there are two dhamirun munfasilun. Means total those are 14. But here in this lesson, we are going to study only 5. Hua means he or it. Hiya, she or it. Anta, you used to address a man or a boy. Anti, you is used to address a girl or a woman. Ana is used for I. Now, Abdamirul Munfasilu is a type of subject, is a type of Mubtada'un. So, if it is a type of Mubtada'un, then a nominal sentence or Jumlatun Ismiyatun can start with it. It can become a Mubtada, means it can begin a sentence. We can begin a sentence with Zamirun Munfasil. It is always Ma'arifa. It can't be Nakira, because whenever we use any pronoun, then at that point of time we are mentioning the concerned person or thing. It is not any general object or person. It is a particular person or object. So it will be always Ma'arifa. Ma'arifa means definite noun. Now, point to be noted is that Huwa and Hiya. Huwa is the dhamir which is used for a human being, and it can be it can also be used for the object whose gender is masculine, and same is the case with Hiya. Hiya means she. It is used for feminine, for a girl or a woman, and in the case of object which has gender, feminine gender, then Hiya is used for that also. In short, we can say Hiya and Huwa are used for those who have intellect and the things which do not have any intellect. if when they are used for the things which do not have any intellect, then it will the both the pronouns will be translated as it. Hope you got this concept. Let's proceed further. Now we will learn the previously mentioned concept by looking at these examples. On the right side, الضمير المنفصل is used for those who don't possess intellect, means any object. And on the left side, الضمير المنفصل is used for those who possess intellect. Let's come back to the first column once again. أين الكتاب? Here al-kitabu is an object which does not have any intellect. The gender of al-kitab is masculine, so huwa has been used here. We will say huwa ala sariri, and this sentence will be translated as it is on the table. Not he is on the table, but it is on the table. Let's come to the left hand where al-dhamir al-munfasilu has been used for those who possess intellect. Aina Muhammadun. Muhammad is the name of a person, so and the gender of the name of this name is masculine. So the reply will be huwa fil jami'ati, translated as he is in the university. Here it can't be translated as it will be translated as he, because Muhammad is a human. Let's come back to the right hand side column once again. Question is Aina Sa'atu. Here as-sa'atu is a feminine object. So answer will be hiya ala sariri. Here hiya will be translated as it is. It. The translation of the whole sentence will be hiya ala sariri. It is on the table. And the last sentence on the left side is Aina Fatima. Aina Fatimatu. Here Fatima is a person, so the answer will be hiya fil ghurfa. Hiya fil ghurfati. Here hiya will be translated as she and not it. It can't be translated as it here. It will be translated as she. She is in the room. Hope you all got it. Let's proceed further. Here the properties of ad-dhamirul munfasilu has been summarized. On the right hand side, the detached pronouns have been mentioned. In the second column, the person to whom it the pronoun indicates has been mentioned. In the third column, gender, jins of the pronoun has been mentioned, and lastly, adad. Adad means number. means the pronoun is either used for a singular or a dual or plural. Huwa is used for third person, means al-ghaib, and its gender is masculine, and it is wahid, is singular. Same is the case with hiya, but the gender here will be feminine and other things will be same, means it will be used for the third person female or feminine object, and it will also be singular. Let's come to anta. Now this pronoun is used for the second person, al mukhatab. It is singular and its gender, its jins is al mudhakkar, masculine. Next is anti. It is similar to anta, but only the difference here it is that anti is used for feminine. Rest everything is same. Al muannath, it is used for al muannathu. And lastly, we are going to study in this lesson is ana. Ana means I. This is the first person, the person who is speaking. Al mutakallimu. It it is used for both al mudhakkaru and al muannathu, and it is singular. Let's proceed further. Next topic is mamnu'un min al-sarf. This is the grammatical term used for the noun or ism which does not take tanween, which does not accept tanween. The three examples have been given here. First is Aishatu, next is Maryamu, and third is Hamzatu. These type of nouns don't take tanween, and when they come in the state of majroor, they don't accept kasra. They will take fatha in mansoob state, and they will take fatha in majroor state also. This particular group of nouns is further divided into many categories. And from those, there is a category known in the Arabic language as al-almiyatu ma'at ta'anithi bighayri alif, means female names, proper nouns of proper nouns for feminine, for females. Female names without alif come under this category. Now there is a shart, there is a condition for these type of female names not accepting tanween, that these names will have more than 3 letters. This category of names is divided into three types, with regards to their femininity. Let's go into the detail. At-ta'anithu means femininity. Such words will be feminine both with regards to meaning and wording. In Arabic, we call it as ma'naviyun wa lafziyun. Example for this is Aminatu and Fatimatu. Here the condition has been satisfied that these names consist of more than 3 letters. So by wording also these names are feminine, whereas in meaning also these words are feminine. Next we proceed towards the second case, ma'naviyun. These words, such type of words will be feminine in terms of meaning only and not in wording. Examples are Maryamu, Zainabu. Now, as we all know, these both the names and similar other names are used for females, but in wording, these names don't indicate their femininity. Only in the meaning, their femininity is indicated. Tamarbuta is the sign of femininity. Here, we are unable to see that sign. Let's proceed further. The femininity, there will be femininity in some words by wording, but not in meaning. For example, Hamzatu and Talhatu, Usamatu, all these words, all these names are masculine names. So see, in wording they are feminine, but such names are not feminine in their meaning. Hope you all got this concept. Let's proceed further. This is the explanation of the concept of at-ta'anithu or the femininity. As we said, al-almiyatu ma'at-ta'anithi bighayri alifin. Such words to come under this category will have more than 3 letters. Now, as we know from the previous explanation that tamarbuta or closed pa is letter that is added at the end of an ism and it signifies the femininity of a word. It is also called as round ta. Round ta is the sign of femininity. There are 3 categories of femininity in female names without alif. As we know from the previous explanation that such words indicate their femininity with regards to meaning as well as wording. And such words will end with tamar buta or closed ta or round ta, and such names are female names. Next category is such words will have femininity or a ta'nithu in them only in meaning but not in wording. And the last category is there will be a ta'nithu or the femininity in such type of words with regards to wording only and not in the meaning. We have seen the examples like male names Usamatu, Talhatu, Hamzatu, etc. And these are the names of Muslim males. We we will we will be going to study this concept in our Mawsuf Sifat lesson. When the noun is masculine, then its sifat will also be masculine, and when the noun is feminine, then its sifat or its adjective will also be feminine. Hope you all got this. Next topic is al-fi'l. It is called as the verb in English. The verb, any verb, either in English or in Arabic, indicates action. Whenever a verb comes in the sentence, then it indicates that some action has occurred. In English language, we have three types of tenses: past, present, and future. But in Arabic language, there are also three tenses. First two are similar to that of English language, and third one is different. First is al-fi'lul madhi, means the past tense. Next is al-fi'lul mudari' or al-fi'lul mudari'u, means the present tense. And the last is al-fi'lul amr, means the commanding verb. Example of past tense here is dakhala, he entered. Example of al-fi'lul mudari'u is yadkhulu, he enters. And from this we will get the commanding verb as udkhul. All these things we will be going to study in our next coming lessons in detail, inshallah. Let's proceed further. As we all know that past tense of a verb is that tense in which the action has taken place in the past. The action is over. It is no more happening right now. The definition or the at-ta'rif. At-ta'rif means the definition. الفعل الماضي ما دل على حدث وقع في الزمان الذي قبل زمان التكلم. Now the past tense which comes in the sentence indicates about the action or event or happening which took place in the past, or we can say that which took place before the time of speaking, before the time of communication, before the timing of conversation. It is no more taking place right at the time of speaking. Let's see the example. Aina Muhammadun. Answer is Zahaba ila madrasa. Aina Muhammadun means where is Muhammad, and Zahaba ila al madrasa. Here Zahaba is the past tense verb and it means he went. Zahaba means he went. Zahaba ila al madrasa. He went to the school. Let's proceed further. Now, whenever any verb or any fi'l comes in the sentence, then it is confirmed that there will be someone doing that action. The doer of the action is called as al-fa'il in Arabic language. At-ta'rif for al-fa'il is al-fa'ilu huwa al-ismul marfu'u al-ismul marfu'ul madhkuru qablahu fi'lu. Means al-fa'il is nothing but a ism which is marfu'. Marfu' means it takes dhamma or dhammatan or tanween with dhamma. It will be in a marfu' state. Its i'rab will be marfu' and it will come after the verb. Let's see the example. ذهب محمد إلى المسجد. Here ذهب is الفعل الماضي means the past tense verb. Muhammad. Here Muhammadun is al-fa'il means doer of the action. Who went? Muhammad went. So here Muhammad is the fa'il, doer of the action. Now see, it has tanween bil dhamma means it is in marfu' state. Ila is harful jar and al-masjid is in majroor state. Majroor means it has become majroor by taking kasra. Why? The reason is harful jar has come in front of it. Let's come to the topic of ad-dhamirul mustafir. Now sometimes the pronoun won't be present in the sentence, but it will be hidden. It won't be apparent. It won't be apparent always. Now, as we have seen the example Zahaba, and here we will see the example Kharaja. In this first case of the verb, there is no mention of doer. So here, doer of the action is hidden and it will be considered as huwa because the kharaja or zahaba is used for the masculine, for the male. Here huwa is ad-dhamirul mustatir means here huwa is hidden, so The hidden pronoun is called as Ad-Damirul Mustatir. We won't see it in writing or pronounce it even though it is there. How we will come to know about this? Now we see the example. Aina Hamidun. Where is Hamid? Kharaja min al bayti. Kharaja means he exited, he went out from the house. Now here kharaja, kharaja is there. Now in this verb, third person masculine pronoun is hidden. It is not visible. It is present there, and that is called as ad-damirul mustatir. Let's discuss this very important topic. There are four signs of a noun, and these are unique to nouns. All these things are doesn't doesn't relate to the verb in any condition. First is huruful jarri or harful jarri, means harful jar or the preposition will come only in front of the noun, and those or it won't come in front of any verb. Next, tanween. Tanween is accepted or appear only at the end of the nouns. Tanween doesn't come at the end of the verb. Third, al. Al is accepted by a noun only. Any verb does not have any harf does not have al in front of it. Al is only attached to a noun. And lastly, al jar means the nouns will get transformed from the state of marfu to majroor, and those will take either tanween bil kasra or single kasra. This does not happen with any particle, any harf, and it does not happen with any verb. This happens only with noun. So all these four qualities are special and unique for the nouns only. Al-alamatul arba'atu lil ism. Hope you understood this. Now this is the elaboration of the previous diagram. Now as we know from the explanation of the previous diagram that all these signs are specific only to the nouns. Verbs and particles means fa'il or harf don't take these signs, and when these signs come in the case of nouns or asma'un, then asma'un can be distinguished from verbs and particles. All these four signs are the distinguishing factor of asma'un from fi'lun and hurufun. The plural for fi'lun is af'alun, and Plural for harf is huruf or hurufun. As we said earlier, that first sign which ism accepts is tanween, means that tanween can be a tanween with dhamma, tanween bil fatha, or tanween bil kasra. Next is alif lam. Alif lam is also called as lamut ta'rif, and this lamut ta'rif can enter upon ism, and this lamut ta'rif can never ever come with verb or particle, means it won't come with fi'l or harf. Third is huruful jarri. Huruful jar come in front of ism only or asma'un only. And last is al jar. Nouns except single kasra or kasratani or tanween bil kasra. So this is unique or specific to noun. This is specific to asma'un only. Hope you all understood the grammatical concepts of lesson 4. In our next session, we are going to take the examples. We will understand all these concepts in detail by doing the exercises. Inshallah. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.